There we go. Perfect timing. Good evening, everybody. Today is October 17th, 2023. This is the Hannah City Village Council meeting. Everybody, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Before we go to recognition of guests, we do have Trustee Pearson online this evening. He was hurt at work. I would entertain him. Do we have to make a motion on that, or we just vote on that, Abby?
You should probably make a motion for it.
Okay. We'll entertain a motion to allow Trustee Pearson to attend virtually and vote this evening due to an injury.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Sidak. Second by, what's his name? Chervali.
Jeff.
Any further discussion? And we'll roll call that.
Yes.
Weaver. Miller.
Yes.
Chervali.
Yes.
Sidak.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Purcell, yes. Okay, motion carries. So Ryan, you can vote on everything this evening.
Thank you very much.
Okay, guest this evening, Danny, you just here to observe this evening?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Everybody should have a copy of their October 3rd, 2023 meeting minutes in front of them.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as submitted. Yeah, right by now.
A motion by Johnson, second by Weaver. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Treasury report. Cassandra, anything crazy?
Nothing out of the ordinary. Any questions that you have?
I'll make a motion. Approve the treasurer's report to pay all outstanding bills. Second.
Motion by Chervali, second by Sidak. Any further discussion? We'll roll call that. Miller?
Yeah.
Chervali?
Yes.
Sidak?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Pearson?
Oh, Pearson? Sorry. I gotta remember to add you.
Nothing.
Nothing from the engineer's report. Abby, did you have anything for us this evening?
I had a few quick updates. So Azavar, I've been calling it Azavar, but I call it Azavar. I sent them a final termination of the contract. Haven't gotten a response from them yet. So if I get one, I'll let Brian know. Brian, myself, and Cassandra are working on the code review and kind of getting everything done for that. So they're using me kind of on an as-needed basis for that. Same thing with the tax levy. Cassandra is taking lead on that and using us as needed. So that's also in progress. And then the annexation plan that Brian and I have been working on is also in progress. So we have a couple coming up. There's a planning commission meeting coming up, and then there's going to be a couple for you to vote on your next meeting. That's all I had.
That's all you had?
That's all I had.
That was a mouthful. Any questions for the attorney?
I didn't catch the first, you did the tax levy, the
Yep,
annexation, what else?
Azavar. It
Yeah.
was- yeah.
Code review.
Code review? Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Sorry if I was talking too fast.
Sandra and I did our first 2-hour session, and we got halfway through the first chapter.
It's not easy.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot.
Very.
It's good.
As long as we take out the dog licenses, we're okay.
Okay.
Is the mayor asking for a personal favor in ordinances we change?
Right.
Sounds inappropriate.
No, I'm just saying.
He said don't take it out.
No, do take it out.
Oh.
There was a thing in there that said everybody who had an animal, a dog in the village limits had to get a dog license.
Yeah.
We don't do dog licenses in the village of Hennessy.
We put the chicken stuff in. They wanted the chickens to be registered too.
Be a good way to make some cash.
Yeah, we took that out.
$100 a dog.
Nobody's got time to register chickens.
Once a year.
$4.
Get rid of my dog.
We're gonna clean her up good, boys.
The dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When was the last full code update kind of thing? When was it ran through last?
Whenever we started American Legal Publishing, they went through it to a certain extent.
They said they went through it. There was a lot of
When
still
we
back
incorporated?
and forth.
Yeah.
It's still not.
And this is, we're going through every word,
Sure.
Yeah.
so it's gonna,
Even their made up words. Yes.
cool.
Administrative report, Mr. Bryan.
Okay, all I've got
You
is
don't
the financials. Believe it or not, this is year 5, month 5 of the fiscal year. So if you count October 6th, we're almost halfway through another fiscal year. The first slide shows September core funds. So if you remember, just the way of background, when we budget, we don't budget for capital expenditures, right? Because we don't know how much you're going to be or how many we're going to do or whatever. And so what happens was when those expenses come in, we have to book them in the income and expense statement, and then we transfer cash to cover them. So we're not covering them out of cash that comes in during this fiscal year, but it skews the numbers. So that's why I have to do an adjusted number for you. But for the month, our income was $156,505, and including $85,345.45 of capital expenses, our expenses were $191,243. So in total, we're showing an income over expense of a negative $34,738. You turn the page, then you'll see I backed out. We had water meters of $3,335 that we're going to transfer ARPA cash to cover, and we had sewer lining and fixing of lift stations that equaled $82,010.40. So if I back out that $85,345.40, we actually had a positive month of $50,608. Everybody remember what the magic number was on the cash? 21.5. If we're 21.5 or better, then we covered our cash transfers to savings. But if you look at the budget, we had budgeted that we would make $57,000. This was our second biggest property tax month, if I remember. So that's why our income's up. The next then is the core funds broken out, and you can see the details there for general employment, water, sewer, and garbage. And then I've also, this includes the capital expenditures. And then if you go to the next slide, you see if I back those out, where we wound up. So water was positive, not quite as much as we would have liked it to have been, but it's carried by general and sewer, so our total cash was covered, cash movement. August MFT, this is when we had the big Porter Brothers expense finally came in for the oil and chip. So our income was pretty much on budget. We had the big expense for this year's program, so we were negative for the month. But that
Looking at August.
did I not? I did. I probably just didn't change it to September.
Oh, okay.
That's my
Just making
fault.
sure.
Nope, just a typo. I didn't change it. Thank you. September TIF, then again property tax month. So we had $24,244. Expenses of 1,233. Most of these expenses in these categories is what the audit. When we had the financial audit came in, we divided that out amongst the balance of the individual accounts. So it was a $23,000 positive month. BDD, our income was a little bit better than planned. If you go back and look at general too, our sales tax was a little bit better again this month. So we're making ground. We're still behind year to date, but we're making ground on the sales tax. We still had expenses for the programs, the grant programs. So we were negative for the month. And then if you look at the monthly summary, this is an adjusted monthly summary. So I did this based upon after moving the capital dollars out. So we were positive 51K, general was plus 35, sales tax was $2,500 better than planned, interest income was $1,200, that's the savings account that we get money off of every month. We had the audit expense of $2,700. Seems like Peoria County bills us, they don't bill us 1 month and they bill us twice the next month, so that's why we had to pay the double police protection this month. We were better last month because of it. Water was plus 7, so interest income was a positive. We had a software expense for the meters, meter reader thing that we get annually that came in this month. The audit expense was in there, and then we also had the capital expense for the meters. And then the sewer was 9K. Property tax was part of what made the income good. Audit expense, and then we spent some money on the tower engineering, which is in that account that needs to be moved to water. We booked it wrong. Garbage was basically break even for the month. MFT was negative, but we had the big seal coating expense. TIF was positive because of property tax, although we did have the audit expense, and then BDD was negative, but income was plus 1,300, but we had the grant expenses of 31K. Then if you look at year-to-date, I did the exact same layout. So year-to-date income was $738,142, expenses $588,993, but $97,040 of that was capital. So in the books, it shows we have a positive year-to-date of around $150. If you go to the next page and back out that $97,000 with the capital that the cash brought over, we would be positive $246,190 through 5 months. Then you can see the individual accounts. So general's positive 146, water's positive 41,000. Sewer was negative, but then again, this includes the capital. So if you go to the adjusted, we're positive on everything but unemployment at $23. And we're covering all the capital money savings that we're moving over. Year-to-date MFTs starting to balance out. The income eventually will catch back up to the expense because we have all the expense pretty much in now. So we'll be doing nothing but booking income from now until the end of the year. TIF, we're way ahead, but we've got two things. We've got the rebates to the coffee can for their program, and then we've got the 80% of the residential money that will go back to the other taxing bodies. So that 60,000 number will come down some. BDD, you can see we made some ground on the income side. We're just a little under $4,000 below. I think the last 2 months we've had positive over budget income, or expected income for the sales tax. Expenses are basically the grant programs. So if you look, core funds year-to-date adjusted year-to-date, general's plus 147, income's better than budget, expenses is basically on budget. That's the theme all the way through. Water, we're plus 45K, income's better, expenses are pretty close. Sewer, we're plus 50K, income's better, expenses are pretty close. Garbage was 5K, and again, it's the same story. So that makes me feel good, is we're getting, this is what our third year into the actual true budgeting process, and we're getting close to understanding what our expenses are and when they happen, so that we're pretty close to how we budgeted for them. And we're probably too conservative on our income assumptions, but I never know what they're going to look like. So. Year-to-date MFT, I think I talked about that. TIF, I think I've covered all that stuff. If you look at cash, currently in checking, we have $825,223. We went down $26,000 for the month. We had expenses in MFT and BDD. We had the extra water transfer, so the extra $5,000 that we moved over, and we had $33.35 that was not transferred in from savings to cover those meters. So the water cash was actually a little better than what it shows on the spreadsheet. Savings year to date were $1,041,670. So we went down for the month. Mostly that was the sewer lining, money being transferred over to cover the sewer lining. But year to date, our variance is positive. And then total cash, we're at 1866. Monthly variance was down, but year-to-date variance is still positive. And then if you look at the cash spreadsheet, I put a little notation out to the side. It says we lost 8,500 in water. We didn't. It really should have been. If you take that 33.35, we would really lost 5,160. And year-to-date, we'd be plus 36.30 if I make that adjustment. So you can see all the negatives in there highlighted in yellow, but those are all explained by the big expenses that we had. The green bar up top shows year-to-date our cash is on the operating account. We're still positive by 100, almost 32,000. So I know that's a lot, but I mean, if you have questions.
Well, halfway through our year, aren't we?
Yep. Next month will be we're at 5.5 months almost today, so next month will be the 6-month mark, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Any questions for Brian? Committee reports? Mr. Giovanni?
I've got nothing.
Mr. Johnson, planning and zoning?
Nothing to report.
Sanitary sewer, Mr. Pearson?
I don't think I have anything for sanitary sewer.
Water, Mr. Pearson?
I don't know if there's any numbers there to report. Otherwise, just I'm sure you guys have seen we've had quite a few leaks springing up, but Jim and the guys have been doing an awesome job of addressing those very quickly. And seems like whenever they fix one, another one springs up, which I guess is good news and bad news because hopefully we're finding a lot of the leaks that we've been looking for. But I don't know, Brian, if you had more information on those.
The specifics, we had 3 all over by Heritage Senior Homes in that area. We had to turn off the water twice on Murphy and I can't remember the Carroll and one other street. Jodan, that's right.
Do they think these are small leaks getting bigger or new ones?
Most of them, I think they're small leaks getting bigger. That they think when they fixed the first one, they turned the water off, and then when they turned the pressure back on, that caused the next one. And all of them seem to be close to where the saddle between the. It goes back to your theory, where the saddle between where the main and the service, which is our responsibility because the saddles are cracking or breaking right in those areas. And so Jim thinks all of them were leaking to some degree previously. They just got worse.
What material is it?
I think they're all, what is it, steel?
The cast?
Cover.
Cast, I mean, I don't.
Do you want the mains or the services?
The service.
What's cracking around the saddle area? Is that cast to cast? Is it? I don't know how old it is.
I don't know.
If it's really old, it might be cast, right? I guess so.
I don't know.
We got different materials of mains in town. A couple different kinds, couple different materials of mains.
Guess that's a question for Jim.
Yeah.
The saddle material itself is probably steel.
So,
Not that
buildings
bad.
He's
and grounds,
long
Mr. Weaver?
suspected those have leaked all over.
I got nothing to report.
Streets and alleys, Mr. Weaver?
Nothing to report there either.
CEDC, Mr. Sidak?
Next CDC meeting will be October 30th at 6 p.m. here in the Village Hall. We have a fun little party. We'll have one of those little punch bowls with the hand coming up out of it.
Everybody's got to wear a costume.
Yeah. That concludes my report.
Okay.
Include the part about the punch bowl.
Administration, Mr. Miller?
And the police and fire, I don't have a current. I need an email from her, or I erased it. I don't know if you have anything. The one I got is September 10th through the 16th.
Those are the emails I'm getting.
So I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. We get back with them. Because I asked them to
I
check
may
it.
have erased it, but I don't think so because I just went through all my emails.
I got one from October 16th, the township reports.
Yeah, they're calling them, it depends.
Oh, was that it?
Sometimes they call them township reports,
Well,
sometimes
I
they call
erased
them.
it then because I erased the township report.
Yeah, that's what they're calling them.
No, I might be able to pull that up.
Why are they going all the way out to Nina's Hardware?
Where?
Jim was in town for a sample, to take a sample for the water break.
So like he drives by there for something.
He was in town to do the sample, and he was
the
there.
lab where he has to drop off the water samples. Is
Yeah.
there.
That's the only reason they
Over
went
by
to,
that. Or
Yeah.
something. That's not the first time I've seen that, but if he drops off the water station,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
makes sense. I'm just like, there's no way he's driving our store in Forest Hill.
And then we have renewal on dental, Humana, and automobile liability is up for review.
So
Brian
Humana
has details on that.
Yeah, the Humana last year was the first year we added that. It just says dental, but I think it includes vision. There's a package that includes it all, but basically the premium's going from $188.22 to $202.35. So it's going up $14.13. So we just need to approve that or deny it, I guess, depending on what you want to do.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we approve the renewal of the Humana Dental Vision Plan at the new rate of $202.35
Second.
per month.
Second.
motion by Sidak, second by Johnson. Any further discussion on that?
Well, there's two employees on that.
Yeah.
Me and Cassandra and then Cassandra's son. So we have 3 people. And the way we set it up, Rod, is if on the medical and the dental and everything together, we offer it to all employees. But if you sign up, you need to sign up for all of it, all 3, medical, dental, and I guess there's 2 programs, medical, dental, and everything. But everybody else is getting them through their spouse. They have a better plan through their spouse for cheaper plan
So
through their
is
spouse.
this dental and vision?
Mm-hmm.
Just dental and vision.
Correct. We did the medical.
What kind of deductibles on
Good question.
I think it says. What's the copay? $180.50.
And that's the co-insurance cost.
That's the co-insurance.
That's the co-insurance. So it's 100% for.
I don't remember what the deductibles were.
I don't remember what the document is. 100% for in-network, 80% for in-network preferred, and then out-of-network. So that's the percentage that they cover. I don't remember what the deductible is, honestly.
So it's 100% in that
It's
way.
it's 100%, yeah.
In our 80% for preferred
Yeah.
provider and 50% out of network.
There aren't very many in-network.
Does that seem high, low, good, bad to you? Or?
No, I mean, it sounds about right. I mean, if you're getting 100%, I look at the deductible was like 500.
I think that sounds about right. I don't remember off
We
the
can
top
look
of
it
my
up
head.
after.
Yeah,
the
I can look it
But I mean,
up.
Look at the plan
you get
after
a
the.
crown, that's $1,200. One, I think the deductible was 600. So you got to pay 600 out of pocket, and you're paying at $50 a month. You're paying $600. So you're getting,
Yeah, I understand.
you'd have to have a crown every year for that to work.
But it's dental and vision, so that also covers.
Yeah, so. Yeah.
It's different for everything
That was
too.
like
It's if you're getting cleaning compared to the crown to a root
Right.
canal to a
Yeah.
But I like
we normally 100% cover.
yeah.
She can look at the plan after the meeting
I
and
can
get
look
that
it up.
information.
So, got a motion by Sidak, second by Johnson. Any further discussion? And a roll call it Pearson,
Yes.
Charavali,
Yes.
Sidak,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Motion carries.
The next thing is through the Risk Management Association. A couple years ago, we shopped this around to see if we can do it any better. And what we get through the Illinois Municipal League is, I think, pretty strong. But we haven't looked at it probably last year's renewal and this year's. But it's going up $1,009. The biggest costs are workman's comp, auto liability, and comprehensive general liability and property. There's some other smaller stuff that makes.
We're just paying in full to
Yeah, it's,
save
if
a
you don't
bit.
pay it in full, then you get
Yeah, you get a 1% discount.
1%.
you get a 1% discount, and then you also get and then our dues are already in there. So I'll entertain a motion to pay the Illinois Municipal League Risk Management Association invoice in the amount of $26,479.
No,
So then,
26,216.71.
Oh yes, I forgot. That's the discount. $26,216.71. So $26,216.71. Thank you, Cassandra.
So moved.
Motion by Sidak,
second.
second by Terravali. Any further discussion?
Is this why we get the magazines?
It's one of them. That's part of our just standard.
Totally worth it. Not worth it for Caleb, I know that. 6 of them in your slot.
So we'll roll call it. Terravali,
Yes.
Sidak,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Miller,
Yeah.
Pearson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
I got something on our business.
So do I. Okay. So, with all the work we know with the water leaks we've had, Bob and Nancy Edwards on Carroll wrote a really nice letter about the guys working in town. It's normally you don't get to hear this very often. Most of the time we always hear the complaints. But Bob and Nancy wrote, on October 3rd, after coming home from a little trip, we discovered standing water in the front yard by our driveway. I stopped up at the village hall and the lady called Jim while I was standing in the foyer. Jim's response, I'll be right there to take a look. As we were pulling in our drive, Jim pulled up and confirmed my suspicion. This was 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and by 2 o'clock, Jim, Roger, and Brad pulled up with trucks, backhoe, and tools to repair the leak. In a short period of time, part of the drive was removed and digging started. The men worked tirelessly at the very tasking project, working in the mud and water, with the mud sticking to their boots and their shovels and everything else. They worked in these conditions until 9 p.m. until they had the leak repaired and the hole filled in and water restored for somewhat disrupted neighbors in the neighborhood. We appreciate everything these men did that day, and when we thanked Jim for his comments, I appreciate your comments, but I'm just doing my job. He went on to say, this is my home too. This is my community. I live here. Wow, what powerful words from a man that has worked his butt off to make his own town a better place to live. Maybe if we all had that type of attitude, this world would be a better place to live. We sometimes are quick to complain and criticize, but slow to showing appreciation and gratitude. As someone who calls this our home too, we want you to know we think that Jim, Roger, and Brad are great assets to the community, and they have earned our respect for doing a great job for all people who call Hannah City home. Thank you. Sincerely, Bob and Nancy Edwards. So that was a really nice letter that we got from them for the guys doing such a good job.
Made their day.
That's all I had, Brian.
So the website, the new website and app we're in the process of trying to get the website moved over and get the app launched for pilot to you guys. I got an email ready to roll. The website was supposed to be up and running, but we know now that there's a problem in the transition, so I've got to take care of that after the meeting. But once everything's ready to go, I'll send it to you, and then you guys can get the app, and you can look at the website. And if you have any feedback over a couple of weeks, let us know. Let Tracy and I know all that's in the letter. And we'll make whatever adjustments that we want. And we're also working on getting the marketing materials put together so that we can get it rolled out to everybody in town. But this will give us the ability to directly communicate with anybody that's got a smartphone in town. And as we talked about, it's going to pay for itself eventually because the code red goes away and other things go away that cover the cost of it. So we're pretty excited about it. But it's a work in progress. I also met with the folks that are working on the Wellness Center and the YMCA in Elmwood. And they came in and they gave us a bunch of materials. And I reached out to Adam Woodson at the Park District just to find out how they felt about it, because that would be their competition, I guess, to some degree. But apparently they've already talked to them and they're working on plans to, almost like they could do some sort of shared memberships and for things that they have that we don't have. And so our park district is very supportive of it. The only thing they've asked us to do at this point is have Tony sign a letter of community support for it. And the park district was fine with us doing that. So I don't think we're going to step on anybody's toes there. I didn't know if anybody had any questions or thoughts. It's a pretty big deal. He showed me all the plans. And
That's the same one they tried to get launched 5 years ago.
yeah, they got a grant now, and so that's
So it's back
I
on.
think they got like a $4 million grant, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because
They're
I
gonna
know.
have a pool there.
They will.
Yeah. Well, they wanted to be like 5 points basically. When
Yeah,
they came and talked to us
a mini-
5 or 6 years ago,
a
like a
mini
mini
5
5 points. Yeah.
It's got a gym. It's got we can use it as a safe building too, in case there's a storm shelter for people that wouldn't have a place to go. It's got a pool. It's got a 12th of a mile track. Spin rooms, yoga rooms, all kinds of.
Well, in the building where they want to do that.
Yeah.
So this is all up here if anybody wants to take a look at it. Couple basketball courts for you, Caleb, so you can go play basketball.
Not bad with you, Joe.
I brought it up to Brian. I talked to him over the weekend briefly when I went to buy beer Sunday. I've been here for over 2 years. It's the first time apparently I've ever tried to buy beer before noon on Sunday, so maybe it's not that big of a deal. But he hasn't even come across it in the code yet. As you said, there at the
Does
beginning.
anybody know? Is it in our code that you can't buy it?
I think it's Peoria County.
It is not.
It's not Peoria County.
It's not Peoria County?
That was a city thing.
Bartonville used to do
It must
that.
still say it on the information given to places, because I know, like, you go to Casey's, they won't let you do it. So whatever they get for their liquor license, it says they cannot sell before.
Well,
I know Walmart won't do it.
It used to be.
We don't give them
You
any.
couldn't buy alcohol in Kansas City at all on Sunday. And then they changed it to noon. Because you just have to go to the Brown Jug or wherever to get beer on Sunday.
In my experience, it typically follows just the liquor license altogether and the hours you're allowed to operate. So I don't even know if the bars here know that they can't even, it probably says they can't even serve till
11. I thought the bar said 11 to something.
I mean, Peoria County is, in the general areas of Peoria County where the village does not supersede it, it's 6 a.m. to 1 a.m. Monday through Wednesday, and 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. Thursday through Sunday. So,
Yeah, I know that exists because.
well, there's bars that open at 6:30. I mean, Keystone gets off there,
Yeah.
I mean, and Betty's will be open at 7 a.m. serving alcohol.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you can buy beer at the gas station starting at 6 a.m. But you get there at 2:01.
Yeah, I know Bellevue's that way because when I try to get it for the teed up for the troops and golf outings and stuff, you go early in the morning.
Yeah.
The place will sell it to you.
I guess the question is, what do you want it to be? Because once we get it to the code, we can make it whatever we want.
Is it in our code for that? I mean,
I don't know.
it's
We haven't
gotta
gotten
be.
there yet. Yeah.
They've done it because I've been to the gas station and had people complain to me like, "Can't you guys change that?" Because
I'll look
they
tomorrow.
were turned away at the cash register
Yeah.
with a thing of
My
beer
personal
like
opinion is
11:30 on a
whatever's in
Sunday.
Peoria County code should be whatever.
It's obviously not a huge deal. It's only one day, but it is football day,
Yeah.
and football starts at noon. So a lot of people are traveling through, going,
That was the
and they're
complaint
not
to me.
buying their booze here
They were
because
20
they
to
can't.
they were 20 to 12 up at Casey's to buy
Yes.
a case of beer and go home and watch the game with some people. Like,
They're
we have to sit here till 12:01, and the lady's like, "Yeah."
Exactly.
I know in the state of Indiana you can't buy it at all on Sundays.
Well, luckily we don't live there.
I know. I used to try to travel to Illinois to get it.
Or you always
go to-
drink
or you
Sunday
go
night
down-
ahead.
Or you go to the
Our code.
I know. I don't have our
So that
I'll
was
look tomorrow.
the only other thing I got is I'm already hearing a bunch of stuff about solar panels.
Yeah.
Like the word is just spread like
People ask me.
wildfire, and they're all wrong about what they think is going to happen and where it's going.
Right now, nothing's going to happen.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
They think it's. They said there's a 20-acre solar farm going up. It's
What
right
do you
on the
think,
edge of
Jordan?
116. I mean, they're just wrong about everything so far. So I didn't know whenever we do get to that point, what we can do to
Let it be
I
wrong.
guess there'll be a long time before we hear back from them.
tell the
They got a-
community what's
They got
really
a
going
lot
on.
of stuff to go through before they ever get approved.
Yes.
Wait till it shows up. And you can see it for yourself.
I didn't know if
I
they
guess
could
along those
plans
lines,
they could
once
see.
we get the app rolled out, any help you guys can help in the community, getting everybody, if you got a phone, then you're going to get direct. I mean, and the cool stuff is initially the push notifications are going to be simple. Tomorrow's garbage pickup, and yes, recycling's that day or whatever.
Yeah.
And don't forget to pay your bills. Tomorrow's, utility bills are due or whatever. So it's going to be that stuff, that basic stuff. But eventually, stuff like the CO2 and the solar farm, I want to be able to go direct. And I like that better than Facebook because, like you said, then you get all this noise around it that some people don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. No comment sections. The best thing to have.
What I think we're going to do is because sometimes, like the guy we had a typo in the CO2 letter. I want to put a little thing on the bottom that says, if you have comments, you can type them in here and send them and then have it email me, right? And then I can have a direct conversation with somebody and we deal with it and move on. But that whole
back and forth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
everybody typing out the Coriolis effect after they Googled it to figure out which way the prevailing winds were. For Pete's sake. I hope those people are listening right now.
I wanted to bring up something also. I don't remember the whole thing. I tried to call and pay my water bill over the phone, credit card, my debit card. We don't have a way to do that here.
Nope.
Correct.
you can do an ACH withdrawal.
What's that?
You can sign up
Automatic
for
bank withdrawal.
automatically take it out of your
but,
account.
but if like nobody, we got to get a credit card machine and that costs a bunch of money, or
No.
what's the?
You can do PayPal. We have a PayPal online payment mechanism, but we do not have a credit card.
It's not PayPal. It's
ePay.
ePay. I'm sorry.
And yes, it's a 3% charge every time.
Every time.
But you can use a credit card with ePay. That's
But
what that ePay thing is, right?
They charge us 3%.
We've had a
to
debate.
take it. So.
We've had a debate about do we eventually want to go to the credit card? Do we want to pass?
Everybody uses a debit card for everything. Nobody writes checks
Well,
anymore.
then set it up on automatic payment. And then you don't have
I'm
to
not
worry
talking
about
just
it.
for me. I'm talking about
Well,
everybody.
no, that's why you would set it
Yeah.
up on automatic payment. You can take it out.
There is a lot of people that still like that.
No, like you said, there's an argument to be made for credit cards because people come in and want to use them. But what we would do though is we'd have to set it up and let people know that if you use a credit card,
It's going to charge you 5%.
you're gonna pay the fee. But
I do
we're
all
not
mine
gonna
for
pay it.
stuff anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
still on a credit card. Still gives you a month. Which may
So-
solve some of our late payment problems.
It's something we've looked at. We just haven't done
Well,
it.
that's like I always forget to come up here, and I don't even think I called just for that, but I was like, hey, I'm on the phone, can I pay my water bill? And she's like, no, we can't do that.
I would assume you guys are all fine with us having a credit card as long as we pass the fees off.
I mean, you can pay
everyone
with it
else
now. You
charges
just have to
it.
go to the website, go to the ePay portal, right?
Right, that's correct.
They can't. There's no way for somebody to call up here and somebody to go through the ePay portal for you and take your credit information.
I suppose we could do that, or they could walk in and we could do that. So.
Yeah.
You could get something, Tracy. You could just pop up there. They swipe in. I guess.
Well, that's
You
usually
could use a
Square is
cube.
when
Yeah,
everybody.
the square thing.
There's
Well,
100 different versions.
I think CPay.
Yeah.
I think CPay has the option. I don't know. I think we just never elected to do an actual terminal on site because of the extra added cost.
Yeah.
And at the time, we weren't having a lot of people doing cards, and then we did.
But
ACH.
let me do a little research with Tracy because I mean, if it's going to make our lives easier, and you guys are okay with us passing the cost off,
The last time we
Well,
looked
every place
into it,
always does. I mean,
the
I
last
don't
time we looked into it, the cost
pay anything by
to the
check.
customer was
Call
higher
and do it with phone.
if we had a credit card machine than it is through ePay.
correct?
So we
But I guess
elected to stay with ePay.
Well, what's the
But I guess-
percentage on ePay?
so. What's what?
What's the percentage ePay
I think
charges?
it's 3%, but if you use a credit card, if you use a e-check, if you use your checking account, it's 75 cents.
I guess the point is if people are willing to use that for convenience and it makes Tracy's life easier and we pass on the percentage.
Just make it a straight fee, like $4 or $5.
Yeah, what does it hurt?
Administration fee. I
I
pay it
think-
all.
I
I pay
think
it all the
that-
time. I
that
get it,
varies.
whatever.
That varies with the amount that you're paying though, too, so.
We can look, I made it up, we'll look into it.
Yeah, see, you know.
But we can look at it.
Covers most of
Because
it.
especially, what I'd really like to do is get it to where even like on the app, when we send out the notice says your bills are due tomorrow, it'd be nice, because we're gonna put links there that people can pay online and do it all right there. We'd love to get more people automated. I'd love to get people signed up for e-billing, so we send them emails rather than having to send out paper.
We have that.
I know we have it, but I mean, we've got like 30 people signed up out of 600 homes.
Yeah, 600.
Huh?
Mail machine.
Leave the mail post office out of this.
Hey,
Anyway,
Anybody else have anything to come before the
get
board?
people to sign up for the app.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did want to mention, I know we had with these water leaks, you know, we kept having to have boil orders and stuff, and there was a resident who contacted us and said, like, you know, I'm not on Facebook and I didn't know about the boil order. I know that the app will also help with that, but what is the other than Facebook, do we reach out to people to let them know about boil orders?
Red alert.
Today we do a program called Code Red.
Code Red.
Which is when the app's in place, Ryan, it'll go away because the app will be in its place, and it's better than the app, better than Code Red, because what happens with Code Red is it targets a given area where you live, and it tells them that they have a boil order, but it doesn't tell anybody else, but everybody else hears that there's a boil order, so they call to find out whether or not they're included in the boil order or not. And what we're going to do on the app is say there is a boil order, and it's specific to these areas, and that'll give everybody the information. I will tell you, Jim went over and talked to those folks, and they were very good about it, and followed up with them. And he's working with Tracy to make sure they're getting signed up on Code Red, and then eventually we'll circle back and make sure they get on the app as well.
yeah, you have to sign up for the Code Red.
And the other thing about the Code Red is if your number changes or your
I don't
address
think
changes,
I ever signed
yeah,
up.
you gotta update all that stuff.
Oh, see, and that's the thing. I think
I've
they've
never
sent out
signed up
mailers
for
for
it.
those, if I believe. I'm not sure if they. I thought we did when we signed up for Code Red initially.
Do what?
They sent out a mailer for people to sign up for.
Well, what
Code Red.
happens now
I
is
can't
we've got
remember. We did a lot of stuff to try to get people on it.
And we've got a new member packet, or new new resident packet that has it in there. And Tracy goes through the whole packet with them, tells them everything that they need to do to make sure to sign up for Code Red.
It'd be rare you lose all your points of contact, because I get a text, an email, phone call,
I don't have any of it. I don't.
My introduction was
get
Jim.
any of it.
So he beat on my front door. And I opened it.
In the new
So
world,
you did pay
download the app, and if it happens, you'll get a push notification, and you'll have all the information you need. So, the 24th, they're having a CO2 meeting over at,
Sportsman's Club at 6 p.m.
and Tony's going to that for us. So. All right, I'm done.
Yeah,
Anything
6
else?
o'clock?
Yes.
yeah, we'll get that.
I have you signed up.
I'm gonna do that.
So nothing else come for the board. Meeting adjourned.
Next meeting's the 7th
Oh yeah,
of November.
7th of November is the next meeting.
So it's
Meeting
one of
adjourned.
those with 3 weeks.
It's unofficial now.
Yep.
It's posted.
Yeah.
We posted at the beginning of the year.
Bye, Abby. Bye, Ryan. Bye, Danny.
Bye guys.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.